I want to start off this video with a very, very serious trigger warning. So if you are uncomfortable with anything I'm about to talk about, you feel free to click away. Like, I completely understand. But we will be talking about grooming, pedophilia, possible sexual assault. If any of those trigger you, please click away. I do not want to trigger you anymore. But for those that are ready, let's do this. Hey, what is up everybody? Yes, I returned to your phone, your computer, your TV, your tablet, your laptop. I don't know what you're watching me on right now. Welcome back. It's me, it's Malcolm. That's a sweet bucket hat. It's a sweet bucket hat. And today, this was long overdue. One, because I've been working so much, I haven't had a chance to sit down, find the energy to finally talk about this. This is like a week late. I know, I also don't care because this is something that needs to be talked about. So if you've been in the dark or you just really don't know what's going on, yes, we are talking about James Charles and all these accusations that have come out, mostly from this 16-year-old that does have evidence, he does have proof, he has screenshots that I'm not gonna show because no, but they're there. They've also been taken down multiple times, which is scary to think about. So yeah, but it's out there. If you look hard enough, you will find it. So let's just get into it. So a week ago, this 16-year-old, I'm not going to say his name or reveal his face because he is a minor and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put him in jeopardy or any danger. So I will just leave it at that. I do have two screenshots, but they are from T-Spill, the YouTube channel, because one, I don't know how to blur faces or anything with iMovie, so I apologize about that. So I will be showing two screenshots that are blurred. Those are from the T-Spill YouTube channel, so please give her a follow. You can tell her I sent you or don't. It's up to you. So what happened? This 16-year-old basically came out and said, he said he was a fan of James Charles. He was very excited. James Charles added him back. They had a flirtatious conversation. James Charles asked for explicit photos. I think the kid sent him photos and James Charles sent some back. The issue is, as we already know, this kid is a minor, so that's your first big problem. Just even talking about it still boggles my head that this is still going on, because if you've still been in the dark, this isn't the first time James Charles has been called out by a minor. There was a 14-year-old, I want to say last year, that called out James Charles for like the same type of behavior, but he quickly got swept under the rug. I don't know how that happened. I think another TikToker with a higher following count. There's also going to be a theme here. The higher your follower count, the more people believe you, and the lower your follower count, the more people think you're clout chasing. You're going to notice a theme here in a second. So this girl, I think she had a couple million TikTok followers. I think she had like 3 million compared to like his smaller number. Said, oh yeah, this guy's a bad guy. He's always out for clout, blah, blah, blah. So instantly people believed her, believed James Charles, and just pretty much swept this guy under the rug. And the fact that he didn't come back just kind of proves that he really wasn't out for clout. He was just trying to get his story out and nobody believed him. And I've heard that James Charles stans and fans have sent death threats and things like that to people that have come out. I'm not going, I don't have actual proof. That's just things I've read online, that they do send death threats. So if you're one of those people that do that, screw you, go to hell. And if you really think you're gonna leave me hate in the comments, I'm 27, anything you say really won't hurt me. I've pretty much heard it all. Anyway, so that got swept under the rug. I'm surprised nobody really talked about it anymore. I know Paige, she talked about it on her channel. She really brought up pretty much all the patterns of James Charles from beginning to end, including now. And it's the same pattern. James Charles finds a fan online. They're like, oh my god, James Charles, I'm such a huge fan. James Charles starts flirting with them and then adds them, sends them provocative photos, which when I talk about it, it baffles me you know what? I'm just gonna state everything first, and then I'll give my opinions on everything after, because I'll just keep going all over the place. So, yeah. So, Petty Paige, which is a great drama channel. Please give her a follow as well. Pretty much put everything in timeline. It's pretty much a pattern at this point that James Charles has when he gets caught up in things like this. And somehow, some way, James Charles like gets out of it. All he has to say, and his fans will believe him, is this person's a clout chaser. They're just looking for clout. Fans will believe him. Boom. Or it could be like, this person lied about their age. Point blank period. My lawyers will be in contact. Blah blah blah. Fan base believes James Charles. Why? Because James Charles has a bigger following, and there's another reason why James Charles' fan base will defend him so hard, and I'll save that for the end, and when I bring it up, it's gonna make so much more sense. So, all James Charles has to do is say, you know, oh, clout chaser, boom, done, point blank period, and all his fans are going like, yeah, okay, we believe you, James, moving on, and they move on. That's literally how it goes every time. But this time, the 16-year-old recorded on another device, which James found that weird. I mean, it is weird, but still, why are you sending photos through Snapchat? I don't understand that. Like, who sends nudes anymore? Point blank period. I don't get that. Also, just the fact of why? Just why? Why are we here again? Because this has happened before, and like I've already said, James Charles seems to just give excuse after excuse. Fan base believes it. If the person has a small following, oh, they're clout chasers. Okay, point blank period, done. Now here is the other thing. James Charles actually released a notes app explanation, whatever you want to call it, on Twitter. And in doing so, he actually admits himself that yes, this conversation did happen. Yes, I sent nudes or provocative photos to this minor. However, the kid lied about their age, blah, blah, blah. Basically, victim blaming. And a lot of the fans and stans are going to run with this. This is where the problem starts. And this is where James Charles just needs to stop. I don't understand this notes app explanation thing, because at the end of the day, if this does go to court, or if it does go to like the authorities, Twitter is not going to be a judge and jury, point blank period. So explaining yourself to them isn't going to do anything. What matters is what happens in the court. And yes, I'm very aware that in some cases, sadly, even with all the proof in the world, people get away with it. I'm very aware of that. But most of the time, when you do have proof, when you do have evidence, the person does get in trouble. So I don't understand James Charles' thing of, let me just talk to Twitter, let me talk to my fan base. And of course, their fan base eats it up. Yeah, he lied about his age, point blank period, done. Actually, I have a contradiction. Keemstar was one of the first people pointing this out, and for those that know, I hate Keemstar. One of the few people on this platform I cannot stand, but he actually brought up a good point of, just because someone lied about their age, you as an adult are still responsible for your actions. And I tried to fact check this myself, because I didn't want to just go off what Keemstar said. Like, I would never want to do that. So I looked it up myself, and the closest thing I could find to this claim is a statutory rape law, which incites if even a child lies about their age and you are like confused about their age, you still broke the law. That is the closest thing I could find to the grooming accusations. Statutory rape and grooming are obviously two different categories for a reason. But my thing is about this is, why, like, if James Charles didn't have any way to, how do I say this? If James Charles wasn't trying to have sexual relations with this person, why would he send him lewd photos, half naked photos, if his intention wasn't to maybe in the future have relations. So to say that, well, it's not the same thing. Actually, if he had the intent to maybe one day pursue something with this kid, and even if this kid lied, James Charles would still be in trouble, because as an adult, it is still his responsibility to make sure they are of age. And like I said, I couldn't find the exact ruling on grooming laws if a minor lies about their age, because that's what a lot of people believe. And James Charles even said it in a statement that the person lied, even though James Charles couldn't provide proof that the kid lied. Because if you actually look, and this is where it trips me out the most. This kid has a TikTok following, and it's nothing small. It's like, I want to believe 200,000. It's in the 100,000s, in that range. On the kid's TikTok, says he's 16. 16 with his pronouns right there and then. Boom. And the other thing is, like, oh, maybe he lied. Maybe he just added that after the fact. Well, if you look at his Instagram story, like I said, thank you, T-Spill. I could not find this kid's Instagram, nor did I want to, like, look him up even further. I wanted to give him his privacy. But you can see in the Instagram memories, which is something you can't fake, especially because this was a screen recording. I obviously didn't get the screen recording, so look at T-Spill's video if you really need to see the proof that badly. But it does say 16 years old, 11 weeks ago. This was way before the accusations that came out a week ago. So if it literally takes regular people like me and you, if we really wanted to verify somebody's age, and it's right there and then, James Charles could have done the same exact thing. All he had to do was like, oh, let me check your Instagram. Oh, you said you're 16? I cannot talk to you anymore. Boom, there you go. It's over, it's done. But James Charles already kind of dug himself a hole because he admitted that these conversations happen. So I don't think James Charles is a PR person, because no PR person would ever, and I repeat, no PR person would ever let you put a statement out like this where you're basically saying, yeah, it happened, but he lied. No, that's not how it works. A PR person would really tell you to just like stay out of the way, just let it play out. That's pretty much like PR 101. I don't understand what James Charles was really trying to do. Again, Twitter's not going to be your judge or jury, because they're not court, dude. I don't understand that at all. So of course you got Trisha Paytas. That's a whole another person who is calling out everybody. She was one of the first people to say that James Charles is very known for doing these kind of things, calling him the P word. If you don't know what the P word is, just think of an animal and that'll be your hint. So she says it multiple times that he is the P word and all that crazy stuff. And Trisha Paytas is the only one that dug into him. A bunch of YouTubers have already. Like I said, I'm very late to the party, but I also wanted to wait to see how James Charles was going to act, because he did have a video release scheduled last Friday from the time I'm recording this. He never released it, and he apparently is releasing a video tomorrow, so I'm not sure what kind of backlash he's about to get, if he's going to get any backlash, or people seem to have already started moving on from the situation. It's very weird. What do you think James Charles did after, like, all this evidence came out, all this screenshots came out, the recordings came out, all that stuff? Do you think James Charles, like, hid, like, he put a statement out? Do you think after he put a statement out, do you think he hid, ran away, that pulled a Shane Dawson and was just kind of like, I'm not gonna come back for a while? Nope. James Charles tweeted the next day. He tweeted, "Good morning." I'm sorry. This is where, like, my personal like feelings come into this. You know how narcissistic and self-centered you have to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm in really, really big trouble, and it looks like I'm gonna get really, really big trouble, but I'm gonna go about my tweeting business like I always do. I'm gonna keep going on social media like I always do, because you know why? I don't think I did anything wrong. And James Charles, in my opinion, feels like he did nothing wrong. And that is kind of scary to think about, because a lot of people are calling him out, but the majority of his fan base is defending him. Now, this is very, very important. The majority of, I want to say, James Charles' fan base is a bit younger, especially because he has the TikTok audience and he has younger, I want to say 13 to 17. I want to say he has a lot of minors that follow him. Now, of course, we can't fully prove that, like, unless James Charles shows us his analytics himself. But the general consensus is his fans are mostly young, and obviously you can tell they're very young because a lot of the accounts that like defend him are stan accounts. If you don't know what that is, especially like James Charles' profile picture on their account, and all they do is tweet to James Charles, try to get his attention, things like that. So James Charles did fire back, or not fire back, he did respond to some people calling him out, where they were just like, James, you really are tweeting like nothing happened. And he's like, oh, I'm really not trying to like excuse myself or anything. Shame, if fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Which is so, my mind keeps getting blown the more I talk about this. And like, I'm not even getting mad about it. It's just like, what is your end goal with this whole thing? I don't understand. I really don't. And what makes this crazier is like he will be responding to like the most random tweets under this thread, under this Good Morning thread. Like, people are calling him out. He talked to those people, but there are like random comments like, hey, James, wish my person a happy birthday. And apparently James Charles doesn't really do that kind of thing, but he was like, oh yeah, happy birthday. Or like someone would be like, love from Cape Cod, and he'll be like, oh my god, I love Cape Cod, I miss that place so much. Just the most nothing tweets. Well, not nothing tweets, they're something to somebody, but the most like nothing tweets, because it's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, if this is one way to piss off people even more and just like throw it in their face like you don't care. It's just to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tweet like nothing's going on. Like, no. And then even today on his Instagram, he's doing Instagram stories like nothing is going on. It's kind of like, oh my god, good morning, sisters. Like, good morning, sisters. Like, I'm getting more baffled. I'm getting way more baffled the more I talk about this. I'm losing my mind. This break was not long enough. So he's going on Instagram stories pretending like nothing happened, and it's so weird to me until something clicked in my mind, right? And this is where the gears start turning and things start making sense. James Charles is friends with a certain TikTok group, and that group is the Hype House, right? Follow me here. There are two TikTokers that are in such hot water right now that when they tweet, when they talk, when they post anything, people are under that like quickness, calling them out for every nasty thing that they did. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you a photo. And when I show you the photo, you're gonna be like, oh wow, that makes sense. So I'm just gonna show this photo right here. You know what that is? I'll tell you who that is. Those are the Lopez brothers. If you don't know who the Lopez brothers are, you've definitely been living under the rock, because there have been so many articles written on these two guys alone. It's way worse than that Zoe Laverne girl, and if you know who she is, the Lopez brothers are worse, because the Lopez brothers are basically getting accused of what James Charles is doing, but like worse. there have been many young girls that have come forward saying the Lopez brothers requested nudes from me. They did this to me. They said these things to me. They're very gross. They're very basically saying the Lopez brothers are pedophiles. Now, I know what you're saying. What does the Lopez brothers have to do with James Charles? Well, the photo I just showed you, that isn't the first and only video James Charles has done with the Lopez brothers. He's done plenty. He's also traveled with them. He's hung out with them. He's basically like one of their good friends. And when the first batch of accusations against Tony Lopez, which was the first brother that got called out for these gross things, James Charles, the same day, and if it's not the same day, it's probably the day after, tweeted about how, oh my God, false accusations, like people need to stop this trend. False accusations, remember that. So, he's like, oh my God, like people need to stop lying, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not gonna read the tweets for you. I'm just gonna put them up here. You can read them for yourself. They're also probably still online if they're not there. If not, here's some screenshots for you. James Charles is friends with the Lopez brothers. Now, I know what you're thinking now, like your gears are turning now, aren't they? So, James Charles has never publicly denounced the Lopez brothers. Why? Honestly, nobody knows. We don't know the private conversations that the Lopez brothers, James Charles, I don't know what the private conversations may have been, or are they still friends? James Charles has never said or anything to denounce them. Now, remember, the consensus is James Charles has a lot of young fans, especially young fans that are girls. So, the fact that James Charles didn't even say, I denounce everything the Lopez brothers did, what they did was disgusting, I will no longer be publicly endorsing them in any kind of way. I know what you're about to say, but he did private that video that you just showed me. Ah ha ha ha. He only did that after Death Noodles, which is a commentary drama channel. He called James Charles out so many times, maybe more than like normal, but the point was James Charles was getting ad revenue from this video, basically profiting off the Lopez brothers. Now, that is immoral in so many ways, because this evidence that was coming out against the brothers, to the point where Tony Lopez is actually getting sued for sexual assault. I wouldn't want my name near any of that. I would private the video immediately. Like, I don't care if, like, no, just, or private it until evidence comes out to prove that it's fake. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Is it until proven guilty? Well, yes. But in the age of the internet, once you put that out there, it's out there. Point blank, period. Now, I'm gonna say everybody that's come forward has told the truth. I'm not going to say that. I will say the amount of evidence is very telling. It's like a snowball effect. It keeps going and going. And even after this 16-year-old, I'm talking about James Charles now, even after the 16-year-old comes out with this evidence, more people came out after that. And I think it was like this guy, he was of age this time, who was like, James Charles was very aggressive, asking for photos of me, and I told him I had anxiety, and when I was told him I was uncomfortable, he questioned my confidence, which is so triggering and so gross to me personally, because I used to struggle with confidence a lot, and if somebody was like, what, you're not confident enough? Like, that kind of stuff does hurt. So, yuck. Like, oh yeah, he's of age this time, but just the elitist attitude James Charles has, allegedly, it's very telling. So, there's one more thing I want to talk about. So, we've gone through the Lopez brothers. James Charles is friends with them. He's done a bunch of collabs with them. Never denounced them. Now, another thing that the James Charles fans will never let people forget is the Bi Sister scandal. And if you don't know what that is, I don't even know why you're here if you don't know what that is. Basically, Tati Westbrook was one of the first people to call James out on all this gross behavior, allegedly, which led to James Charles then pulling the Uno reverse card, which was the No More Lies video. And ever since that No More Lies video, anytime, and I do mean anytime, somebody comes forward and says, James Charles did this to me, James Charles said these things to me, this is proof that James Charles was very aggressive towards me. Anytime somebody says anything like that, his fans, right there. Well, what about the last time you guys said this about him and he proved you all wrong? So this time, you're wrong. Every time. Anytime somebody brings that up, everybody's like, oh, well, we don't want to put him in the same mindset he was after the Bi Sister scandal, because he was very, he was in a dark place. He was basically, I think he said he was suicidal, I think, in that realm. So the fans will constantly, and I really do mean they will constantly bring up that situation alone as validation for anything he does. You can't say this because remember the last time you guys went without any proof? That's the point though, without any proof. This situation has proof. So you can't use that and plug it in here and say, it's the same thing, you guys are doing it all over again. No. No, we're not. This kid had proof. Now, I do question why he's recording with a different device. That's kind of weird, but still, kid's underage. James Charles is 21. And I've seen people try to defend James Charles saying, well, he's only 21, so it's not that bad. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing the justification because it's James Charles. We're not gonna do that. No. James Charles is 21. That kid's 16. James Charles admitted it happened. Stop it. He did wrong. Point blank, period. I don't know what you're trying to defend at this point. And my thing to the James Charles fans is, why do you keep using 2019 as an excuse? He cleared himself of one thing. That's it. And even in that video, he just showed a bunch of text messages. Did he really clear his name? Or because he spoke with confidence, you think he cleared his name? I've said in a video about James Charles before, he talks with such confidence and he talks so fast that it's almost hard to contradict him or rebuttal him, because he's so confident in what he's talking about. I think he had a drama with Trisha Paytas when it was Trisha Paytas, the Miller sisters, and him. They were all involved in this one thing, and he just went off on TikTok, and people oh my God, James is talking with such passion. We believe him. No, I've said this before. Just because you talk with confidence and you talk so fast and you talk with articulate words does not mean you're correct. Point blank, period. I'm sorry. So all the stands and fans are well, with the No More Lies video, he really showed receipts and he really cleared his name. Okay. Did he really though? Look back at the video. Did he really clear his name? I'm not gonna say he did or he didn't. I'm just gonna say, did he though? Maybe you should look back at it one more time. This is where all the screenshots and stuff are done. This is just me talking now about the whole thing. I don't understand why James Charles is using his fan base as a dating pool. And even James Charles himself admits he likes younger guys. And I'm just very are you waiting for them to turn 18 like Nikita did? We haven't talked about that yet, but that's coming soon. So are you waiting for people to turn 18? Because that's also perceived as grooming. But what do you mean? What do you mean by younger? Because you can't really get much younger than 18 because that's the law. Like, you're only 21, so by saying, you know, I only like younger guys, maybe 19 or 20, perfectly fine. But it's just something about a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old, especially like a fresh 18-year-old. That's kind of like iffy to me personally. Yeah, I don't get the point of using your fan base as a dating pool, because it's, like I said, this is the first time a fan has come forward and said, I used to be a James Charles fan, and then he added me back, and then we had a conversation, and then blah, blah, blah. This is a pattern that has happened multiple times, right? The attitude of James Charles being like, I'm gonna tweet like nothing's going on, I'm just gonna keep posting Instagram stories like nothing's going on. You're just going to piss off people even more because you're really showing your ass, personally. Like, I don't get it. And that's the point of this video. I just don't get what James Charles' end goal is. Like, you can only use that bi sister thing so many times before it gets tired. And saying, well, they lied about their age, that's a piss poor excuse. I'm completely sorry. We're at the age of, like, if you're not sure, ask. And when I say ask, I mean actually verify. Like, I think in a statement he was like, I'm gonna ID people from now on. Like, why weren't you IDing people before? Because, like I said, this isn't the first time someone underage has come forward and said, James Charles did these things to me. And he lied about my age. I don't get it. Or he lied about his age, whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's just, like, I'm at a loss for words. And this is now for the James Charles fans, and I saved this for the end, and you're already probably clicked away. So James Charles fans are starting to sound like Jeffree Star fans. Oh, did that trigger you? I'm gonna tell you why. Whenever Jeffree Star is in trouble, he'll just say, oh, that person's sad, that person is out for clout. Does that sound familiar? I'm gonna keep going. Oh, this person doesn't have any proof. This person lied. What are James Charles fans saying now? This guy's out for clout. This guy lied. Blah, blah, blah. Almost the same exact thing. And don't think I didn't forget about James Charles' microaggressions towards the black community. I did not forget about that. This video was not meant for that. But I didn't forget. I'm not gonna forget that James Charles blocked a bunch of black people when the black community called him out. Like, earlier, like late last year, like I wanna say in like November, December. I didn't forget about that, but I never brought it up once, except for right now. So don't think I forgot. Do not think I forgot. Yep. So for all you James Charles stans and fans that are defending your idol to the death, I want you to really, really look at this situation in unbiased eyes. And I know what you're about to say, but you don't like James Charles. You hate James Charles. Yeah, I don't like James Charles, but I actually did sit back and wait for things to develop. And honestly, it just gotten worse for him. So I finally felt ready to talk about it. So you can come for me all you want and say I'm a clout chaser, whatever. If I was, I would have made like 5 or 6 videos on him instead of just one big video to like put it all into perspective. So you can have fun with that. I personally don't care. If you hate me, I don't care. Pretty much I don't care. Like, I'm 27, what are you gonna do to me? That is all I have. Once again, it is Malcolm. That's me. I have a subscription button up here. I have a Power Ranger head in the back. I have 2 other videos over there for your own free time. Without further ado, I wish you well. I wish you good health. And I will see you again next time.